StrayAllDay.com.
You're now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day, to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. Dre, what is that? That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques all underneath the umbrella of one unified philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is, I told you we were giving to the ladies here, and 4 straight episodes, different topics, but 4 straight episodes today. How to move gracefully as a woman. How to move gracefully as a woman. Again, this is not a metaphor. Same way we talked about masculine movement. Now, we're going to talk about this from the feminine side here today, from the ladies' side here today. Since we already talked about the masculine movement and how a masculine man can move in literally a tangible sense, now we got to do our part in understanding that a masculine man moves in that way, not only to influence and send a signal to other men, but also to influence and send a signal to the women. I mean, let's not pretend here. Let's not act like that's not part of the. Let's not act like that's not part of the formula out here. That is a huge part of the formula out there for men, especially those of you who are heterosexual, which I'm guessing most of the men who listen to the show, you are. So let's talk about it. Okay, let's do our part, talking about how a woman can do the same thing on the feminine side. Point number 1. Today's topic, once again, is how to move gracefully as a woman. Number 1, first of all, understand that grace is an energy first. It is a movement second. Grace is an energy first, a movement second. What exactly does that mean? Before you move with grace, this is what it means. You must actually feel grace. It's hard to move with grace when you don't feel any grace. That's kind of hard to do. Think about it. Can you move with grace when you're not feeling graceful? Probably not. When you're feeling graceful, you move with grace without thinking about it. This is the reason why, those of you who have been around for a while, you heard me talk about being, doing, having, in that order. Why is it? Because when you're in the energy of grace, you don't have to tell yourself to do things gracefully, because you already are graceful. When you're in the energy of being focused and disciplined, you don't have to tell yourself to do things in a focused and disciplined way. Why? Because you have no choice but to do things in the same energetic state in which you inhabit. If you inhabit an energetic state, everything you do is going to be done in that state. You can't be angry, you can't be furious and do things calmly and peacefully. That's not possible. If you are angry and you want to do things calmly and peacefully, you have to compartmentalize your anger and then pull out the calm and peaceful part of your being and then go do things. But as long as you're in the anger, you're going to do things in an angry way. So you have to be able to compartmentalize. You can feel more than one thing at the same time. Now, some people who are good at compartmentalization, I put myself in this category, you can do this. But if you are engulfed in a certain energy, you will behave with that energy. And you can't hide that energy if that's exactly what you're feeling. So when it comes to grace, again, you feel it first, you do it second. Grace is an internal calm, is not just external control. So a woman moving with grace, similar to a man moving with control, is never in a rush. Again, you look at a woman who's moving with grace, who is fully in her feminine, you see her moving gracefully. She's never in a rush. She may move fast, but not in a rush. Again, there's a difference between being fast and being in a hurry. You move with purpose while maybe thinking with urgency. Same thing that a man does. A graceful woman, similar to a graceful man, can make other people slow down just by her energy and the way that she conducts herself and the way that she walks into a room. She can make other people adapt to her pace just because of the way she's controlling herself. Understand that anytime 2 human beings engage in anything, the person who is more strongly in their energetic state will control the pace of the engagement. Whoever's more strongly in their state controls the pace. And if you're stronger in your state, then you can get someone who's moving fast to slow down. And if they're stronger in their state, they can get you who's moving slow to speed up because their energy is stronger than yours. If 2 people start walking together, whoever is more in their energetic state will control the pace of the walk, which means they can make a person who normally walks slow walk faster, or you make a person who normally walks fast walk slower. Because you're more in your energetic state, you control the exchange more than they do. And this can be completely nonverbal. This is not something you talk about, like, hey, walk faster, hey, walk slower. No, they just naturally do it because you're controlling the pace. And communication, any of you done any type of sales or persuasion training, they call this pacing and leading. Is that you get yourself on the same pace as the other person, then you start leading them to do what you want them to do. And this happens completely unconsciously. You can do it consciously, and you can be purposely doing this, but it happens unconsciously in every conversation, even if neither person is doing it on purpose. You'll notice if you watch two people from far away having a conversation, you'll notice that one of them is pacing and leading the other person, and they may even exchange pacing and leading, and neither one of them may even know that they're doing it. But it's just a natural, unspoken human communication, nonverbal communication thing that happens with humans. We all do it. Animals do it as well. So while posture is a big part of grace for a woman, it's more than just posture. It is presence. Presence is more than posture. Presence is an energy that you can feel. Posture is the way that you're actually holding your body. We can see it and measure it. Your energy speaks before your body does, especially for a woman. For a man too, but we're talking about women. This applies to a woman even more than a man because women are much more objectified by their physical presence than a man is in society. Men are objectified by their physical presence, but not nearly as much as a woman is. All right, when a man walks by a group of women, the women may look at him and notice him when he walks by, and then they're probably thinking a little bit more about who is this man, what does he do, what does he have, where does he go, where does he come from, who knows this guy. They're not, just watching him walk away like they just had to get every view of him they could possibly get from every possible angle. However, any of you who's a lady, if you ever walk past a group of men, whether it was you by yourself or you with other females, and you all walk past those men, what do you see all the men do? You see all of them turn their heads and watch the woman walk by. Why? Because women are objectified such that men want to get as much of a look as possible at every possible angle of that woman that they can possibly get. Because it might be as close as they ever get to that woman. Men do this all the time. And women, that men do this all the time because I'm sure you've had it happen. I'm a man and I notice men doing it. So I know if you're a woman, you feel it because they're doing it to you. I mean, one thing to see other men doing it, which I do. Another thing to have men doing it to you, I'm sure you feel it. So if I notice it, I know you notice it. So your energy speaks before you do. And again, this matters much more for women because you're objectified by your bodies. Men, again, we can be objectified, but it's not in nearly the way that a woman is. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is how to move gracefully as a woman. Number 2, your body language is always talking. In a big way. Similar to with males, but again, more so because a woman's body is much more looked at and objectified, and a woman is much more judged by her body than a man is judged by his. Men are judged by their bodies, but not nearly as much. A man can have a beer belly and be short, and his clothes cannot be that great, and he doesn't had to be that pretty. But if he has a certain amount of resources, then really attractive women will still be attracted to that man. If a woman is all those things, if a woman is not very physically attractive and her body doesn't look like it's in great shape, but she's a great person, is she going to be nearly as attractive to men as that same type of man would be to women if he had resources? The answer is hell no. The woman's body and the woman's physical look matters a whole lot more in the sexual dating marketplace than it does for a man. And we all know this to be true. That doesn't mean that a woman should not have something of substance between her ears. And it doesn't mean that a man should not take care of his body. But we understand the game, do we not? We all understand it. All of you have been around long enough to know. And if you have not been around long enough, stay around and you'll notice everything that I'm saying is 100% true. How you sit, how you stand, how you walk, how you sip a drink, how you carry your purse or your bag. These are all sending a message to the world. Again, much more for a woman than for a man. Same way a man is taught to take up space and not make himself small because it communicates a certain amount of power, control, and confidence. A woman is told to move with length. What does that mean? That means elongated neck, shoulders back, deliberate steps, never frantic, and never sloppy. All of these things, if you were to do any of these things the wrong way, again, your neck keeping your neck short, your shoulders hunched, your steps are frantic, and you look sloppy, then you're communicating a certain thing to other men that communicates a lack of grace, a lack of refinement. If you're slouching, stomping, fidgeting, all these things are communicating a lack of refinement to the rest of the world, whether to other men or to other women. Again, the same things that a man will be told, and for different reasons. Whereas a man is usually making solid and steady eye contact that communicates a certain level of dominance, a certain level of confidence and steadiness in a man. A woman's eye contact, though it can be direct, a woman's eye contact is much more soft. It's not aggressive the way that a man's eye contact may be. And again, men, you had enough experience with women. You have experienced a woman looking at you in a masculine way. She's making direct eye contact, but there's a masculine direct eye contact that a woman can give, and then there's a feminine, graceful direct eye contact that a woman can give, and they're communicating two completely different things from the exact same woman in different circumstances. And if you think back in your life, I'm thinking as I'm talking now, I can remember situations where a woman was making direct eye contact with me, and it was a masculine direct eye contact. It was almost like a challenge, a physical challenge of that eye contact. Maybe she was mad at me for some reason. Maybe she was just mad, period. Maybe she was cheering for the other team. Maybe I just dunked on her boyfriend in the basketball game. Whatever it is, there's that direct masculine eye contact from a woman. And then there's the soft eye contact where a woman notices you just walked into the party and she's interested in you, and her eye contact is saying everything that she needs to say to let you know that she's open to your approach. That's a different type of eye contact. It's direct as well, but it's a different type of eye contact. That's the softer, graceful direct eye contact that, again, it has power, is communicating something, and unconsciously, men, you got to learn to pick up on that. You don't want to miss too many of those signals. You may miss a whole lot of opportunities if you don't get good at catching up on that. So there is strength in softness, when it's done properly by the right woman who is in the right energetic state. You just have to learn how to control it and direct it the way that you wish. Moving on to point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is how to move gracefully as a woman. Number 3, small habits that separate women from girls. Let's talk about what some of them are. Things like, I mentioned this a minute ago, how you handle a glass when drinking, or how you deal with a phone when using it. If you're drinking from a wine glass, for example, it is said that you should pick up the glass, as a woman especially, you should pick up the glass by the stem, not by the fat part of the glass. So you know a wine glass has the fat part with the actual liquid inside of it, and then there's a long stem going down to the bottom that's usually round and circular. If you're picking up the glass, you should always pick it up by the stem of the glass, the skinny part, not by the big fat part. This is a small sign of refinement that if you were not taught it, you wouldn't know. So again, ladies who were not taught this, I'm sorry. Somebody miseducated you or diseducated you because they didn't tell you. But now I'm telling you these things. You can look these things up. I'm sure there are a million YouTube videos explaining this stuff. Lifting the items to you rather than lowering yourself to them. This applies to men as well as women. But again, it matters a lot more for women because your bodies are objectified. If you're a man and you are using a phone, do not hold the phone down by your belly button and then crane your neck down to look down at the phone at your belly button. Instead, hold the phone up to eye level and look at the phone while it's at eye level, which also allows you to make use of your peripheral vision. So you can see what's going on around you rather than looking down at your phone and not being able to see what's directly in front of you. Same thing for a woman. If you are eating food, especially if you're at a formal dinner, never ever lower your face down to the plate to scoop food into your mouth. Instead, get the food up on your spoon or your fork, use other utensils as necessary, and bring the food up to your face. The food serves you. You do not serve the food. When you bring your face down to a device or to a plate, you are serving the device or plate because it's staying where it is and you are coming to it. Where instead, if you bring the device up to you, it is serving you because it has to come to you. The same way that if you have an animal, and I tell my son this, he's only 2 years old as of this recording. We see a dog or some animal outside. We saw a frog the other day. And my son was saying, should we go over to it? No, we're not going to go over to where he sees a dog. Should we go over to the dog and try to pet the dog? And I always explain to him, same thing I would say to an adult. You don't ever go to a dog. You don't do that. You let the dog come to you. Why? Because humans have dominion over animals. We don't go to animals. Animals come to us. So if a dog is naturally curious, even if the dog is not coming to you, if you were to go to like the SPCA or something, the pound, and you want to get a dog, and you want to see a dog, but the dog's not coming from the back of his cage up to you, all you got to do is just sit there next to the cage. And if you sit there for a few minutes, eventually the dog will get up and walk towards you. Why? Because you have control over the dog. And because you're grounded in stillness, the dog will eventually see that and the dog will eventually come to you. But if you're going to the dog, you're putting the dog in the lead position, and that's not the way it's supposed to go. That relationship's not going to go well. So these are little small things. If you're a woman who is in her graceful energy does not approach a man and say, hey, I'm interested. Can I give you my number? That doesn't happen. The woman, when she sees a man that she's interested in the bar or across the room, what does she do? She makes that soft, inviting eye contact with the man. And I was just looking at this. I was looking this up the other day and reading about it, that are you ever out somewhere and you notice somebody staring at you and you were looking the exact opposite direction, but you could just feel that somebody was looking at you, and then you look the whole other way and you could see the person looking at you? There's a real thing. It's a real thing that subconsciously we can feel it when someone's looking at us. So a woman, if she wants to get the attention of a man who's across the room who hasn't even noticed her yet, she will look at him for long enough that he will eventually notice somebody's looking at me. He will turn and notice the one looking at him, and the look that she gives him is her way of telling the man, come over here. She does not go up to the man. He goes up to her. That's the way it works. A woman going up to a man is masculine. All right? No disrespect, ladies. All right? Don't do that. All right? You give the signal and you let the man come to you. And if the man is confident and the kind of man that you want, he will come to you. And if he doesn't come to you, he probably ain't the right man anyway. All right? Something about him ain't seeing himself as the one who would approach you. Find the next man. And that's what I would suggest to you. So bring things to you. That's the whole point. Now, as a man, for the most part, you want to bring things to yourself. Now, when it comes to something like this, here's where the split is. The woman sends a signal for the man to come to her. The man, you go to the woman. All right, you don't send a signal for a woman to come to you. You go to the woman. You can go right up to her. See a woman you're interested in. If she's in her feminine, she's not walking up to you for the most part. There may be some exceptions. For the most part, she ain't walking up to you. You got to go up to her. That's just the way it works. So again, this is for men and women. There's one little split there, but a lot of these things I just said apply to both sides. A woman knows how to gently close a car door to where the door is actually closed, but you're not slamming it like a man. All right, men slam car doors. All right, women don't slam car doors, even though they both close. And a feminine woman knows how to sit with poise. This is something that ladies, you were probably taught as a very young age, especially when you're wearing a skirt or a dress, how to sit properly, how to cross your legs properly. You want to choose clothing that flatters your physical shape, and every woman's shape is different. So every woman can't wear the same clothes, which again is something a woman should be taught at a young age by women. That's not something a man can teach a woman. That's something that a woman teaches a woman. Grace for a female is in the details, and every detail matters because again, as a woman, people are noticing every single detail about you because women are physically objectified a lot more than men are. And this is how people note, perceive, and remember you, positively or negatively. Let's recap today's class, which is how to move gracefully as a woman. Being that we talked about the masculine energy, let's talk about the feminine side of this when it comes to movement. So men move in a poised and controlled way. Women move in a graceful way. Number one, grace is first in energy, a movement second. Again, being, doing, having. You be graceful, then you do graceful in that order. Number two, your body language is always talking. Again, similar to males, more so with a woman because your body is much more objectified than a man's is. So you should pay more attention to how your body is being perceived than a man needs to. And number three, small habits separate the women from the girls. How you handle a wine glass. How do you deal with lipstick? How do you bring items up to your face rather than bring your face down to the items? How do you sit? Do you wear clothing that flatters your body properly? How do you move about when you're wearing certain clothing, knowing that you're being looked at from every angle and every possible available viewable crevice? All right, women, you should understand this. You should have a woman who has taught you this, and hopefully you can teach it to the next wave and next generation of women. All that said, workonyourgameuniversity.com. I'm not going to teach you about femininity, but I will teach you about the being, doing, and having, how this applies not only in your gracefulness or control as a woman or a man respectively, but how it applies to your business, how it applies to your personal life, how it applies to your interpersonal communication, your mass communication out to the world, and how that energy comes back to you. Let's go to workonyourgameuniversity.com, get into one of my coaching programs, and let's get to work on it. Work on your game. Dre, all